So when Jesus healed this man and he cast out the demon, again, verse 23, the multitudes, it says, were amazed. The word means astonished. Their minds are blown, and they said, could this be the Son of David? The Son of David was a messianic title. The Messiah will be a descendant of David. And in the Old Testament, David is the only person who demonstrates power over demons. In 1 Samuel chapter 16. So Jesus did a miracle that they taught and they learned was something only the Messiah could do. The crowd says, well, who else could this be other than the Son of David? He must be the Messiah. Now, Mark's account of this in Mark chapter 3, verse 22 tells us that there were Pharisees and scribes from Jerusalem in the crowd when this miracle took place. So there's an official delegation from Jerusalem there. They're there to investigate Jesus, to determine if he's the Messiah or not. He does this miracle. The crowd asks the obvious question, could this be the Son of David? And in verse 24, the leaders from Jerusalem give their official opinion about Jesus Christ. This is their official ruling. Now, when the Pharisees heard, they said, this fellow does not cast out demons except by Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons. So these religious leaders, they couldn't deny that there was a miracle that took place. They couldn't deny something supernatural has happened. They can't dismiss it. They can't ignore it. They have to give an explanation to the crowd for it. And the leaders of Judaism say Jesus performed his miracles by the power of Satan. And this now becomes, this is an important moment in the ministry of Jesus here, if you're taking notes. This is the moment, this becomes the official position of Judaism regarding Jesus. That he's doing all of these miracles, all of these works by the power of Satan. And this continued to be the official position of Judaism well into the early centuries of the church age. And even today, in the Jewish writings known as the Mishnah, it says that Jesus performed his miracles by sorcery and black magic, and he led Israel astray by his sorcery. Still today. And so this is where this becomes, all right, this is our official position on Jesus. And you know, what's the dealio here with these miracles? It's all by demonic power. In John chapter 15, verse 24, Jesus said, if I had not done among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have seen and also hated both me and my Father. Jesus did works that no one else did, messianic miracles, and they hated him and rejected him, in spite of the obvious sign of these miracles. So now, verse 25, Jesus responds, but Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then will his kingdom stand? Jesus says, this is illogical. What you're saying is just illogical. It's illogical that Jesus would use demonic power to cast out demons. That would be self-defeating. If Satan casts out Satan, then Satan is divided against himself. Satan wants people possessed. Satan wants people blind and mute. He wants to kill, steal, and destroy. So it's illogical that Satan would cast out Satan, or that Satan would set captives free. If that were true, the kingdom of Satan would not stand. Satan would destroy his own kingdom. So Jesus makes the argument here, it's just illogical that he would use demonic powers to cast out demons. A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. And by the way, what Jesus says here is also true for a nation. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. It will self-destruct. Then he goes on to say in verse 27, And if I cast out demons by Beelzebub, by whom do your sons cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. Now again, demon possession was common in the ancient world. I don't believe that demon possession or demonic activity has decreased in modern times. I just think we don't recognize it as demonic. We call it something else now. But in the ancient world, they had these Jewish exorcists that would cast out demons. We see an example in Acts chapter 19 with the 7 sons of Sceva, who were sons of one of the chief priests. And Jesus says here, if I use demonic power to cast out demons, then by what power do your sons cast out demons? Are they using demonic power too? And obviously, they would never say or believe that their sons use demonic power to cast out demons. They would say they use the power of God to cast out demons. So then he goes on in verse 28, but if I cast out demons by the Spirit of God, surely the kingdom of God has come upon you. The only logical explanation for the miracles that Jesus performed was that he performed these miracles by the power and authority of God. In Luke's account of this conversation, in Luke chapter 11, verse 20, Jesus says he cast out demons with the finger of God. With the finger of God. That's an important phrase that Jesus used to describe his miracles. It's the finger of God. That phrase appears only 4 times in the Bible. In Luke chapter 11, and then 3 times in the Old Testament. The first time it's used in the Old Testament is in Exodus chapter 8, when the magicians of Pharaoh cannot replicate one of the plagues, and the magicians of Pharaoh tell Pharaoh, this is the finger of God that's doing this. So Pharaoh's magicians acknowledged the finger of God when they saw it, but the Pharisees refused to acknowledge the finger of God when they see it. The same phrase is also used when God writes the commandments on the stone tablets that he gave to Moses. The finger of God wrote the commandments. And so here the religious leaders, the Pharisees, the scribes, they accuse Jesus of working for the devil. Jesus responds by saying he's God, which he is. He's God incarnate.